Good evening, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Boy, oh boy, do I feel a lot better tonight after another great win against Birmingham at the weekend. It was a good win. The King Power was rocking. We were all enjoying that. Get your comments in live. We are live for the next 30 minutes. We'll obviously be touching a little bit on the Birmingham game, but mostly we'll be looking forward to Tuesday night's game, Millwall v Leicester. We want to know, who would you start? Would you change things around a little bit? We got Plymouth on Friday. We've just had Birmingham. Just had Norwich. Would you change the team a little bit? And of course, we will be wanting your score predictions at the end of the show. So we're here for the next 30 minutes. Get your views in, get your comments in, whatever you guys want to talk about. We're here for you, the Leicester fans, to chat about whatever you want to talk about. Let's get into it.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everods, Follow Blinds, Pocker Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Distilliers Direct, Hologram, Take Me, Nubian Co, and the Fox's Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, welcome to the show. Get in there, Leicester. Thank goodness we beat Birmingham. It was a bit touch and go, especially after that goal we gave away just before half-time. Passing out from the back. What can you say? Don't forget, follow us at Leicester Fan TV on whatever channels you are. If you're watching on YouTube, go on, click that subscribe button. And if you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, give us a like, give us a share, give us a retweet, whatever it is. As ever, the next 30 minutes is all about your views and your comments. We're going to get as many on screen as possible. Terry dives straight in and says he will definitely rest some players tomorrow. Daka for one. Do you agree with Terry? I think I would want to see the strongest team out tomorrow night. I just think we've beaten Norwich, we've beaten Birmingham. Let's go. Let's make it 3 wins on the spin away at Millwall. I think I'd go with whatever he thinks is our strongest team, but I do get it. We just played Birmingham and we've got Plymouth. A long trip on Friday night to Plymouth. What would you do? Do you agree with Terry, or would you go for the strongest team? Good evening, Carlos. Hope you're well. He says, what a win. That game had a draw written all over it. Imperative that we win all the others with them losing. I know, I did think that. I mean, you're all Leicester fans. We'd already seen Ipswich lose at Norwich, so the day had started off really well. We were hearing all over the place. I was hearing that it was Leeds were 2-0 down, so I didn't hear they'd scored a goal till I got outside the ground. So I was like, oh, come on, Leicester. Do not let us down on it. So, yeah, it was a tough one. Andy says, definitely wouldn't play Daka, offers nothing up front, but would play Cody. Andy, I said, pick your strongest team. Daka doesn't make the strongest team for me in there. But listen, I don't want to underplay Daka. I think actually did all right on Saturday. He did all right. Chris says, just a quick, if they decided, just a quick, I don't know what you mean, Chris, but if they decided everyone points deduction so quick, they must surely know by now how things are going to give us if we get in the Premier League. Ifs, buts, maybe it's Chris. Let's discuss the Premier League. We're in the Premier League. I'm still concerned about this season, so let's keep an eye on this season. Ian says we need to keep this winning run going till the end of the season. Well, if we do win all the way to the end of the season, we're champions and Premier League. Here it is. Dave says has to be Vardy tomorrow night. I quite like Vardy playing this 20, 30, 35 minutes role. I personally think that suits Vardy better now. Let's get 30 top class minutes out of Vardy, but I don't know. That means you start Daka. Cannon seems to be not really in the squad much. Nacho not getting much game time. Where do you think it will go in there? I think there are some decisions. Myself and Reedy, we were talking about would Hamza Chowdhury come in? Do you give Ricky P the night off and let him just, you know, he's only fresh back from injury. So would you do something like that in there? On YouTube's Clibo1 says the danger is being out-muscled. Again, I want to talk a little bit about the Den later on in this. Any memories you've got from the Den. So save them for a little bit, but I've got a few memories from going to the Den before. Scary, scary place in there. MDA events, that's Matt, hope you're well. Don't forget, there is Armageddon, Matt. We need to get on to Armageddon, which is the darts show at the Mattioli Woods Arena in Leicester. That's in May. I need to remember myself the dates. I'm going to say May the 17th. Dave says, I agree, Phil. We need to get another win. This is no time to rest players, and after Plymouth, they can have a little break. Andy is joining us. I'm going to let Andy in now. Hopefully he gives us a thumbs up. Let's get him in. Andy's going to join us. Good evening, Andy. Hope you're well.
Not too bad. How are you, Phil?
That's a very dapper retro shirt you've got there, Andy. Circa 1992?
89, the year I was born.
89. What a classic. That actually looks a really nice shirt, but we're going to divulge. Andy, let's get on to football. How are you feeling tonight after those two nice home wins?
Nothing but positive. Really happy after a nervy time with losing 3 on the bounce to bounce back the way that we did. Yeah, really, really happy with the 2 wins. Long may it continue, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, the first question we've already got onto here, which Dave says here, we need to get another win. This is no time to rest players, and after Plymouth, they have a break. What do you think, Andy, about tomorrow night's team? We're gonna pick a team in a minute. You and me are. You didn't know we were going to do this, but we're going to pick a team with everybody watching. Would you be starting to rest some players or not?
It goes back to there. Why would you start resting in players in crucial times? Every game's so important now. So I can see changes happening, but I can't see too many, if that makes sense. I know that everyone's going after Daka, but I don't think he's had the worst game. He definitely played his part in the first goal. Why change something that's not broken? Do you know what I mean? It's all about the changes that if we do make changes, which Enzo does like to do. I don't know. I can't really pick a player out that you do.
No,
because
I mean, Andy Medhurst says here, Dennis Pratt and Atgum played well when coming on. I think both did have a bit of an influence in that game on Saturday.
Oh yeah, 100%. Both involved in the second goal. Atgum's a little Jack Russell, isn't he? When he comes on, he just wants that ball and he's given 100%. But would I start him? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? They're probably better as impact subs. Yeah,
absolutely. Carlos says here, what's happening with Cannon? Any thoughts on that, Andy? He seems like we saw Cannon back when obviously Daka went off to the AFCON. I quite like what I saw from Cannon, but he feels like he has become the 4th choice striker behind Daka, behind Vardy, behind Nacho even.
He's definitely talented, but he was never a this season player. I mean, we bought him with an injury. Is that still playing a part? Are we just biding our time with him? I would like to see him again before the end of the season, but again, do you bring him in at the minute when we've got this winning run on the go? It's one of them in my eyes.
Yeah, indeed. Ted says here, Cody will settle the defence. Millwall, not a nice place in there. Callum, thank you, Callum, on YouTube. Very kind of you. You don't need to, though. We're just here to do it for you fans. Ian says, Ricardo will be rested tomorrow, only just back from injury and have 3 games in a week in there. And he would, again, I mentioned that maybe you let Ricardo have the night off tomorrow, but I just would like to see keep going strong.
I do. I mean, did he look tired when he played on a Saturday? He looked like again, he's an absolute workhorse for us. But he didn't look tired, and he wants as much game time as possible. And he has such a big influence on the players that are around him with the way that he goes about himself. Why rest him? Or not give him the night off? When we're saying that, are we saying we're going to put him on the bench and bring him in later, or is it just completely give him the night off? I don't think any player should have a night off at the minute. It's crucial. It's 6 games left. Everyone should be busting their gut to get into that squad.
Absolutely, Andy. Right, now, everybody who's watching, we're going to pick a team live tonight, me and Andy, and we want your views, we want your comments. Listen, Hermansen is going to be in goal, isn't he, Andy? Had a bit of a mare with that one, but Enzo absolutely has come out and said if he ever dared not to be playing it out from the back, he would drop him, Andy.
Hey, it's a mistake. We're all human. I like what KDH said about him after, with the way that he's held himself this season and fitted straight into the squad. You can't have another keeper starting over him. I mean, we have a really good second choice, but no, Mads 100%.
And then again, Andy, just some of these drop in really quickly. So, but who would your back three be tomorrow? Would it be FaZe? Would you drop Cody in there? Would you have, where Doyle back in there? I mean, took Doyle off at half time. James Justin. How would you set some of that up?
I'd have JJ, 100%. I'd have JJ in there. I'd have. I'm going to get slated for this because I know there's people out there don't got time for Wout Fast, but I really like him. I'd keep Wout in, and then I'll put Doyle in as well.
Yeah. So let's put. I think I'd agree with Wout Fast. I'd probably agree with JJ.
So you gone three at the back?
No. I'd go with Vestergaard, FaZe, and
you've gone three at the back, haven't you?
Yeah. It's interesting. We want to get people's views where that would they set up. So if you're watching this, obviously there's a lot of different ways of playing this. So let us know in the comments how you would do it. Patrick says can't see Ndidi being rested. He was blowing after an hour on Saturday. Adam says we ain't in a position to be testing players. Go full strength for the last 6 games. They'll get plenty of rest after in there. So I want to know your views and your comments. Who would you play at the back there? Sorrel Motors. Good evening, Sorrel Motors says momentum is key at this stage. Start the same team apart from Daka in there. Richie, thanks for watching. Richie says I'd get Cody in. Doyle, Nelson at the back. John Simpson says, amazed Hermansen hasn't made that mistakes many times. Far too casual in there. Carlos says, Ricky P and Baz in there 100%. So we got a slight discrepancy there. I think we've put Vestergaard in and FaZe and Justin. Ricky P for me has to play.
100%. Yeah, he's got to play.
Not Chowdhury.
He's Ricky P's like captain, vice captain, because obviously every time Vardy comes on, he gets it. So you've got to pay Ricky.
Yeah, and I think then Andy, some players we can put in again. I'm sure Mavididi will start. We're dodging around here, and people watching this, I'm sure Mavididi will start, and I'm sure Fatou will start. Do you agree with those two?
Yeah, faultless, both of them. I mean, I know Fatou didn't have the best of games, but he still adds that little bit of flair, causes trouble. So don't change that on the right, and definitely not with Stephanie.
It's interesting, isn't it? I thought that against Norwich and Birmingham, to be fair with you, Andy, I thought Fatou had excellent first 45 minutes. I thought he was. Yeah. Especially against Birmingham, I thought he was on fire during that, and I really excited watching Fatou. But he did seem a very, very quiet second half after that. I don't know if at half time managers sussed him out and said you've got to quieten Fatou down, because it does look like teams come to play Leicester and know about Mavididi, but it seems like Fatou was the guy they don't seem to notice beforehand.
Well, we've seen it game after game. Every time we tried to play it down the left, Mavididi would have at least 2 players on him, and Fatou's in acres of space. I mean, the times that I've been, he's literally waving his arms and shouting for that ball. Come the Birmingham game, they kind of went 2 men on Fatou and left Mavididi free. So it's a good asset to have on both of the sides. Is they're dragging players because no one knows how to deal with them.
Yeah, get your comments in, get your views in. Let us know who you would have in there. Bubba says the pass from Fatou on his back to Daka, which led to that first goal, was fantastic. I think you're right, Bubba, and I think a lot of players went over to congratulate Fatou as well for his effort involved in that game. Tomahawk on YouTube says Vestergaard needs to start. He was really good against Birmingham. I think I think generally Vestergaard's been very good all season in that team. Richie says he'd have Ricardo, Winks, Dewsbury Hall. I think, to be fair, Andy,
Can't argue with any of that.
Yeah, you can't argue, can you? A lot of this team now does pick itself. Winks and Dewsbury Hall are two that are going to go into that slot for sure. So you can't argue with that, can you, Andy? There's no point. You wouldn't be resting those.
No, you definitely not. I mean, like, credit where credit's due. Winks, KDH, and Mavididi linked up so well. It was almost telepathic. They knew where to be and where the ball was going to go. They didn't even need to look at each other. KDH and Mavididi, as the season's gone on, have just grown and grown and grown and seem to have formed this relationship with each other that they can almost predict exactly where the ball's going to be played to. It's great to see. I wish we had it sooner, but it's definitely one for the future if we can keep hold of the players, obviously.
Clemo says, Andy, watching on YouTube, he says, would you be against starting Yunus Akgun?
I wouldn't be against starting Yunus, but the games that he's been involved in where he's come off the bench, he's so much more impactful off the bench than he is when he's starting. Where when you're starting, you have to grow into the game, and I don't think he's quite got the grasp of that to deal with the game and the pace of the game. Whereas he comes on as sub, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that, Andy. I think Akgun again is one of these players who I think he does look a ball of energy. I think he had quite a good impact on Saturday when we needed that tempo raising, didn't we, against Birmingham? Were you ever frightened against Birmingham that it was going to be that 1-1 draw that we didn't want, Andy?
I was feeling it 100%. It got to the 80th minute, and I was like, "This isn't going to happen." When the ball was played in 6-yard box, and I think we had about 3 players out, Akgun being one of them, and it's just like, it's going to be one of them days. It really is going to be one of them days where all the results have gone our way, because I was keeping a close eye on the Leeds Coventry one. I was like, we're going to get a point here, and I was definitely jumping for joy when I was proven wrong. I was quite worried towards the end, but it got settled, thank God.
It did have the feel that it was potentially one of those games. And I think that's why when we scored, it was a great celebration. I think it was probably one of the best moments of the King Power this season, because it felt like there was a bit of a pressure valve release within the fans that we actually had done it. Because I think up until then it was like, just this season we were so far ahead, everything got pulled back, and then Birmingham really had to be the win after Norwich. After Norwich had beaten Ipswich, it felt like it was there for Leicester to just. It was a bit like that Ipswich and Norwich had set it up for us, and then we were going to screw it up. Tomahawk says Akgun has pace and he's very determined in there. Lewis says tomorrow's a must win. I agree with you, Lewis. Scooby says, how many out of the 6 games left do you think 4 out of 6 to go up? Well, Andy, just answer Scooby there. How many 6 games left? How many wins do you think we need?
5. No, I'm not. I was saying this today at work. Like, there's 3 teams on the cusp of over 90 points, and one of them might not go up because one of them's going to have to play the playoff. That's unheard of. I think I said it on the Aftermath show. Martin O'Neill said back in, what season? Correct me if I'm wrong, 95, 96 season, all we've got to do is win the last 9 games. Well, all we need to do is win the last 6 games. And back then we did it. Hopefully we can do it again now. I mean, I want to go up as champions. We've been there long enough. Had a brief little hiatus, and then we're back up there. So it's every game's a cup final now, and I'm going to have to take it game by game and not look too far ahead.
Yeah, Richie says Leicester will win every game and get promoted in there. Craig says, I don't know if that's Craig, you think we'll win 3 games or that's all we'll need to win. I think I'm a bit with Andy. I think you just got it. That's why I think pick the strongest team possible tomorrow night. Keep winning. The more wins you get, the quicker you've got that chance that Leeds or Ipswich will drop some points. It's for us. Dave says he thinks we'll need 5 wins in there. Alex says if we get promoted, be very grateful to Norwich on Saturday. And somebody in the Facebook group says, I think we'll need 14 points, which is effectively 4 wins and 2 draws. That's not losing again. Ipswich have to play the informed teams. Can't see more than 3. Any thoughts on Plymouth team? I live surrounded by pilgrims daily. I've never seen Leicester win at home park. Guy, aren't you Guy? The Lucky Gnomes guy down south. Forgive me if I'm wrong. We've not seen the Lucky Gnomes in a while, but I think that's the Guy Cooper down there. I think we'll talk about Plymouth after the Millwall game, if that's all right in there. I'll tell you what I do want to talk to you, Andy, about, and everybody else. We're coming back to picking the team. One of the most important positions will be, Andy, does Jamie Vardy start tomorrow?
Nope. You said it at the start. Them little 25-minute spells, he's so much better. I mean, he's a great striker, regardless. But no, I'm not starting him from the start. I'll give him a run out into the second half.
So I think, Andy, this is probably the biggest debate for tomorrow night, and this is what I want to know from people watching is, and if you can put in the comments below, help us pick this team. Andy's saying, no, you don't start Jamie Vardy. Who do you start, Andy?
Daka. I do. I generally think Daka should start. I don't think he had a bad game. He contributed with the first goal. He's definitely got pace to split defences. And that's all we need because we've got the backup. We've got Steffi Mavididi that can come in. We've got KDH that can come in. We've got Fatawu that can come in. These people can score. Yes, he's a striker, and under the old regime, he's obviously strikers are meant to be scoring week in, week out. But when you've got that amount of people behind you that can score because you're splitting defences with your pace, it don't really matter, does it? So Daka for me to start. I'm going to stick with that. It's Daka to start.
Okay, well, Andy says Daka. I'm going to tell you what I think in a minute, but I want to get your views in here. I think it is one of the biggest talking points at the moment is strikers for Leicester, very, very short term, which is Millwall away, then Plymouth away. Who would you pick? Put it in the comments below now. Andy's going for Daka start and Vardy to come on in there. I think I agree with what Andy says. I think Vardy is by far the better striker, but I just think I'm taking into consideration how many games we've played, how many games we've still got left to go. You know, lots of games in a very short period of time. I'd like to see a 35 minutes of Vardy at 100% at the end. And I think Daka's done okay. I think he does play along the Enzo way, which is be part of the chasing down, being involved. He doesn't do much and he doesn't score many goals. I don't rate Daka, as you all know, as a striker, but I just think, I mean, Andy says here, having Daka in the team is like playing with 10 men. I think he does get involved, Andy, a bit, but I just think maybe 55 minutes of Daka and 35, 40 minutes of Vardy tomorrow is the better way to do it. David says Daka presses well, but that's about it, really. I agree with you, David. I think that's about it. Patrick says Daka will get bullied all night. Vardy is more experienced. So, Patrick, I assume you'd start with Vardy. Dave says Vardy, yes, to start. We need to give Millwall something to worry about. That's the alternative, like Dave's saying. Do you start Jamie Vardy, get 1 or 2 goals up, and then take Vardy up after 55, 60 minutes? That's a nice place to be in there. Nick says we create more clear-cut chances later on, and I think Vardy is the man to take advantage of these. Starting him when we're playing cagey football isn't the option. Again, Nick, I think that's a very, very valid point. I do agree with that. Alex says, what's happened to Nacho being picked? Alex, you would think Nacho would suit Enzo's team better than Daka and Vardy because of his ball retention and how he involves other players, but I think he's on his way out of the club, and he's not looked that interested in a lot of the games this season. Lewis says Daka to start, sub for Vards at 60 minutes, so he'd have it the other way around. Jonathan says, I want Nacho, but Enzo just will not give him any minutes in there. I don't think it'd be Nacho tomorrow. Andy, do you think it could be Nacho tomorrow?
Can't see it. I personally can't see it. No, I don't know what's happened to Nacho, to be honest. I mean, this is how it seems to go when Nacho has started. When Vardy has started, Nacho comes on or Daka comes on. So it depends how you want that to play out. He's definitely an option. But you're forcing yourself to go to two up front, and we haven't played that really this season. If you know what I mean. So it's probably why he has fell by the wayside, because we haven't played two strikers up front. That's why he's fallen to the wayside, and he's gone like third choice, unfortunately. But that's because we've got Steffi, KDH, and Fatawu more than capable of scoring around the lone striker.
So I guess this is the choice we've got. Do you start Daka? Or do you start the legend that is Jamie Vardy? Or do you put Kelechi Iheanacho in there? Get your views in and get your comments in before myself and Andy pick what is going to be the final team for us for tomorrow. Let's get a few comments on before we put it in there. Who's going to play the number 9 in there? Richie says, give Iheanacho a go tomorrow. John says, what does Cannon have to do to get a game? I don't know, but he is fourth choice, John, at the moment. He didn't even make the squad against Norwich. Scooby says, Daka always gets in the final third, then is clueless. I'd have to agree with Scooby on that. David says, give Vardy the start to keep the winning mentality in there. I'm going to go with what myself and Andy are saying. There's a split decision in the comments. I think we are both probably going to go for Daka to start. For me, Andy, that is because I'd like to see 35, 40 minutes of Jamie Vardy at 100% full pelt.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's the way you need to look at this. With the strikers that we've got, Vardy, Nacho as mentioned, and Daka, which one of them can kill a game off the bench? And it's Vardy. So This is why you've got to start Daka or Nacho, but it's going to be Daka over Nacho, and that's how I'm looking at it. Is he starts and Vardy can come in and kill the game if needs be.
I mean, David says here Nacho is the most disinterested player, earning 75 grand a week. I would be doing cartwheels and grinning like a Cheshire cat in there. Clemo says Vardy is better off the bench. I think we have 3 games in a short period, so Dako or Nacho will work in there. Tez says Nacho is Tielemans Mark II, not interested. I think you're probably right. He's on big money, but he doesn't want to get an injury, and I think that sort of looks what it's like in there. So I think we've just about between us all picked Patson Daka in there. There's one last place in there, Andy, which I guess makes sense that it's Wilfred Ndidi. But yeah, I think there's a stat saying that when Ricardo Pereira and Wilfred Ndidi have started for Leicester, we've won. I don't know if you've seen this stat, but I think when those two start, we've won virtually every game this season. I think it's 15 out of 16 games those two started. We've won 15 out of 16, something like that sort of stat, Andy. It's going to be Wilf to start.
Yep, especially with a stat like that. You're not going to... No, it's so refreshing to have him back. The way that he reads the game. He seems to have taken almost a completely different role on. He loves to... He looks like he just wants to get one in the net all the time. So, yeah, it's got to be Wilf. Wilf is a great asset to our squad. It's just the distribution that he can do with the ball as well. He supports Fatawu on the right hand side as well, and he's quite happy to drop back into the more like defensive role if it needs be. But so good going forward.
Richie says play at gun. Bubba says will for sure. David says here has to be Ndidi. Millwall will be physical, so need some grit. Andy, just moving on to Millwall just slightly. I think we are going to put Ndidi in there. Millwall are scrapping for some points to stay up, aren't they?
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's hard for us. I feel Leeds have got probably the worst running than we have, but we're playing teams that are lower in the table, trying to get into playoff places. And like I say, every game is now a cup final, so I take game by game. Millwall, well, the rumours speak for them. So they are can be a nasty team, and I don't mean that just because of the way that they're so aggressive in the way that they play. They could split us. We've just got to be strong against them, and it's going to be a hostile environment anyway. So yeah, it's not going to be easy for us tomorrow by any stretch of the imagination.
So I think that's the team pick there. I think the major decisions were probably Ricardo Pereira staying in, Patson Daka starting. I think Ndidi. I think most people would say that team is going to be. If anybody disagrees with that team that we've just sort of picked between us, do let us know on the screen in there and let us know in the comments in there. But we're going to get on to score predictions. I think Jamie Vardy will end up coming on as a sub for us, Andy, and I think that's where we see it. Much as we like Jamie Vardy, score predictions then, Andy, for tomorrow night, and everybody watching here, I want to know what you think the score is going to be, just so that people know. Millwall are on 44 points, Plymouth on Friday are on 44 points, which is only, and I mean only, I think 2 points ahead of Birmingham, who are in third bottom. So both teams a point against us or a win against us. It's certainly two different games. Millwall, Andy, the Den is a horrific place to go on the best of days. Plymouth, Argyle, can be a really raucous, noisy, old school sort of ground on Friday night. They'll be well up for it, and they've got Whittaker, who scored a bagful. Let's start with the Millwall game, Andy. What do you feel? What's your feels like on it for the score?
I'm going to say 3-1 Leicester. I think they're going to pull it back to 1-1. I think we'll go 1-0 up, and then Mill will come back at it. They're going to be fighting. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be a tough game. So I can't say that Millwall are not going to score a goal, because, like you just said where they are, 44 points. It's so tight down there. It's ridiculous. It's so tight up our end as well. So yeah, 3-1 for me. I'm quite confident with that one.
Keep getting your score predictions in, and we'll get some more on screen before we the end. Andy, have you ever been down to the Den?
Yeah. Very interesting. Interesting to say the least. When your bus parks about 8 miles outside the ground, just so it doesn't. You know what I mean? It makes an interesting trip on the tubes on the way into the Den.
I've had a very, very scary experience down at Millwall. Not nice at all. I said to Reedy, goes to all the games home and away. He goes on a fan coach, so they literally drop them off about 50 centimetres away from the ground nowadays. And I said to him, "Oh, you'll be fine going to Millwall." I said, "You'll be absolutely fine." And he went, "No, last time they went on the coaches all got literally pelted. It was a nasty trip," he said. So I've had a hideous experience. I was stupid enough, Andy, to go on the tube and train from Dartford to Millwall. This is many years ago, wearing a Leicester shirt. I walked right through Millwall in a Leicester shirt, which I just was young and stupid, but it was not sensible. I literally was scared for my life.
I'm going back years ago, and the way that we got dropped off at like a park and ride sort of thing, and then you come in by train. And then we're walking through these railway arches.
Yeah. Oh, we've just
from that film. So yeah. It walks us through this alleyway, and then these railway arches came. I was like, I recognise this, and it's like, oh, this is where that certain film was filmed. So I was like, no, not having that. So yeah, no, it is hostile. It's take a good life insurance policy out if you go down that way.
I was the day I went to it was the old Den, and I remember those arches and tunnels that you have to walk through. Just before you get there, there's some football pitches, like Saturday afternoon pitches, and we were walking. Me and my mate had got Leicester shirts on, and the players on the pitch playing Saturday afternoon football stopped playing, both teams, and gave us grief and were coming up to us. And it was like, this is crazy, just play football. And they were like, no, you're in Leicester shirts, we're going to give you some grief. Anyway, Andy, you're fancying a win for Leicester. You think they'll score. Scooby Baz says 3-1. MDA Event says 4-1. Matt, make sure you do get in touch with us. And don't forget, Matt has got Armageddon coming up in May. Did you put the dates in, Matt? Let us know. when it is. I think it's May 17th down at the Matoli Woods Arena in Leicester. Andrew says, anyone going Plymouth away? I'm in Devon, so close for me in there. David says they'll press our goal as we play out slow from the back. 4-1. I was looking at leaving the office, going straight to their game. 33 quid a ticket in the home end. I think I'd rather keep... David, don't go in the home end, please. God, dear. That would be nasty. Andy, just very briefly, obviously, Millwall's the game after, and a lot can happen in a couple of days being a Leicester fan. What do you fancy about the Plymouth game as well on Friday?
Again, I don't, no, not again. I think Plymouth, completely different animal. So I'd be quite confident going out and say that we could win 2-0.
2-0. I actually think Plymouth will be the harder game, Andy.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, yeah, no, what you said about Whittaker as well. They've got some good players. I think we can go down there and get a clean sheet with that one. But I could be wrong, you know.
I mean, two wins this week, Andy, by about 10 o'clock on Friday night. If we've got 2 wins, we'll be on 94 points if we get 2 wins. I think if you'd have said at the start of the season you've got 94 points, you would have probably said, Andy, wouldn't you? Well, we're promoted.
I'd have bitten your hand off for that. I didn't see the league. I knew the league was going to be tight because it is. If you look at the whole table itself, there's everything. Everyone's got everything to play for. But yeah, 94 points. I thought, you know what Burnley did with their record, I didn't think that could have been replicated. But yeah, 94 points. It's definitely see you promoted. But then we're going to have 3 teams that could possibly hit that. So yeah. It's just nuts. It is nuts. This league is unbelievable. Really. Do you know who I was quite in a way happy that we're in this league this season because the football is just ridiculous and the league is just ridiculous. But we want to get back to where we are.
I just want to get out of this league, Andy, as fast as possible. I've been saying all season. I don't care how we do it.
If you don't get out of it on the first attempt, we will know how long we stayed down there last time. So, yeah.
Let's get out of it. Andy, listen, thanks so much for joining us. Andy, let's give you guys a little plug at Distilliers Direct and K4. That's where you work, isn't it, as well?
It is, yes, it is. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to buy any booze, go on distillersdirect.com. There, we got it in, Andy. Else Craig will give us a telling off. So thanks so much for Andy joining us. We'll see you very, very soon.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks for that. That was Andy. So fantastic. We picked a team between us all. Will it be good enough to win? Will Enzo pick it? We've probably got something wrong in there. Enzo will probably pick a curveball in there. Craig says he thinks Friday's game is harder than Tuesday, but we'll still win. I just think, and somebody asked about, David says about, it's Whittaker. He's a great little striker in there. So he scored a hatful of goals and doing really well. Plymouth are in disarray. No win in 5 at home and haven't scored a goal in home. But they have sacked their manager and got a temporary in charge. That is always dangerous then. Scooby says 2-0 to Leicester versus Plymouth. Could be a massive week for Leicester. Don't forget, tomorrow night, hopefully we'll have a watch-along. Reedy and the guys that will be down at the match will do a post-match live show. And Thursday, we've got Fox's Focus with Locks. Friday night, it's game night again. And then, of course, the Fox's Aftermath is back on Sunday. And if you hadn't seen the BBC News Today or Sky Sports or any of the leading media outlets, I'm sure they're all covering the fact that the Fox's Arms, the very, very Fox's Arms, is back open. So if you're in Alcudia in the sunshine having a beer, pop to the Fox's Arms and enjoy a pint with Jamie and all the gangs down there. MDA says, would you like some free tickets for May the 17th? Yes, Matt. Come on next week and tell us all about that. Let's give some away. Let's do it all again. The Legends Night down there was fantastic. So Matt will be joining us next Monday night talking about Armageddon and hopefully 6 points for Leicester. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Thanks for Andy from Distillers Direct. Great to get him on. I'll see you all soon. Fingers crossed, everything crossed. Come on, Leicester, we can do this.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everod's, Barlow Blinds, Booker Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Distilliers Direct, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.